Welcome back to the Renegade Report. I am Francis Mayer, Sports Information Director for Bakersfield College Athletics, the finest athletic program in the known universe, and for more reasons than just our sports. First of all, we have some of the greatest athletic facilities in California, from Memorial Stadium with its 20,000 seats. It is an absolute masterpiece that would frankly put some Division I schools to shame. And then there's the Gil Bishop Sports Center, thousands of square feet of basketball courts, wrestling services. We have a band room. We have a dance studio. We have racquetball courts. It goes on and on and on. And just recently, Mr. Heasley, our drumline instructor, our music instructor extraordinaire, you and I took a tour of the gym, and you see a lot of potential in there, right?
It's an amazing venue. I mean, it's something that, I mean, obviously, it's a basketball court. It's a volleyball arena. It's a thing that can be used for all sorts of reasons. And
we had Kevin McCarthy in there recently at the ag thing, and there were Secret Service agents in the Hill, and I was like, whoa, we've made the big time.
Yeah, I mean, the venue's it's huge for one. I mean, it's impressive.
I'm gonna plug your mic.
Sure, you bet.
They're not so sensitive, but are we good, Chris? Okay, it's not going to fall in his lap. He has amazing reflexes. He's a musician. You are a musician, correct?
I am a musician, yep.
Tell me a little bit about your story. How did you get pulled into music?
Boy, I mean, it started when, piano lessons when I was a little kid. But it was kind of a progression. A lot of students kind of go through this. I mean, when I was in elementary school, learned a wind instrument and kind of progressed through that into junior high and high school. I think where I really got hooked into music, and at least instrumental music, was in high school with high school marching band. I mean, for me, that was like the thing. It was the hook for music for me. Of course, as a high school musician, I did all the other things: concert band, jazz band, all those deals. And really at that time, I got involved with an activity called Drum and Bugle Corps, which was something kind of outside of what I was doing at school that became a huge thing for me, that led to a pathway that's been really rewarding. So
right, and technically speaking, you're not a professional musician. And I remember in high school, people asking me, "What do you think you're going to do with that? How do you think you're going to make any money with that?" And you've made a career out of it, Mr. Heasley. You are a grown-up, and this is your career. You make money from music.
Not much, but yeah, no, definitely. And honestly, for me, I at one point I was a professional musician in the traditional sense of I was getting paid to perform as a musician.
And where was that? What were you?
I kind of mentioned that drum and bugle corps thing that I did. It led to making some really good connections in that activity, and there just happened to be a Broadway show that was being put together that was kind of based on marching band and drum corps and that kind of thing. So, I mean, the real short story is that I ended up auditioning for that cast, getting a job with that company, and then touring the U.S., it opened in London's West End. It was in Japan it still tours there. I'm not with the company anymore, but many summers in Japan. I mean, it led to literally me traveling the world, and getting paid for it. And that was just because I happened to be a kid who was into, marching band when I was in high school. So.
Right, but there's no luck involved there. Fortune definitely favors the prepared, and you were. And speaking of being prepared, we're very proud of the Drumline we have at Bakersfield College. You guys bring energy with you everywhere you go. Even like to some things that I thought were kind of inappropriate, like we had a kind of not a somber, but a quiet fundraising dinner. And then I see you outside, and I'm like, oh, he's about to bring the Drumline into the auditorium. And seriously, this was a quiet, hello, how are you, bunny, type dinner. And then Heasley comes in with the Drumline and brought the house down. I mean, it was amazing how much energy that gets injects into a room. But you guys, don't you usually go to the World Championships?
We do, and I'll get to that in a second. But it is kind of funny to note. I mean, we get calls all the time for different gigs because people see us on campus or at a football game or
hard to miss.
Well, yeah, they make a little bit of noise, but it is weird the types of gigs that we get called for, and so we're not always able to do everything, obviously, because our students are in most cases full-time students, and they work part-time or full-time time, and so it's hard to take all those gigs. But we do get some interesting gigs. We're like, you sure you want a really loud drumline to come through? But we do it. I mean, if it works and we're available, we like to do it. So, but yeah, we do have a competitive element to our program. So what most people see is, especially I think on the athletic side of things and on campus of our program, is our fall semester program, which is at football games and other events in that semester. And that group is just a once a week. They practice, about 3 hours during the week, and then they prepare for those gigs. We refer to them kind of loosely as, but that's kind of their deal. But those students at that time are kind of preparing for their competitive season, which is actually in the winter into the spring. And we have a competitive, what's called an indoor drumline. And it's called indoor drumline because we compete in arenas against other drum lines, basketball court situations throughout the region, and the last couple of years at World Championships. So it's a whole different thing where it's not necessarily about It's about entertainment, but it's also competitive.
But aren't you digging in against, not against other junior college bands alone? I mean, you're digging in against... It's big names.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's interesting kind of how it works because the activity, which is Winter Guard International, those who participate in it, many are linked with schools. We, of course, are. Some are independent groups, and some come from community colleges, some come from universities. And yeah, I mean, we do pretty well competitively. Last year, we outplaced a group from Penn State and Notre Dame. The year before that, you mentioned Boston College earlier in the program. We outscored them at World Championships 2 years ago.
Right on. The real BC, man.
So
see what I told you?
I mean, I don't like to think about that stuff because for us, it's not really about. I mean, it is about the competitive aspect of it, but it's really more because it's not like it's not like two drum lines on a court going head to head.
Sure.
You're judged on elements of
it's subjective.
Right. So we don't like to think about that part of it too much, but it certainly motivates the students. I mean, they definitely get into that part of it.
Well, yeah, and we're proud to claim you guys. I mean, you are part of the college, and it's absolutely amazing. But I do know that much like our athletic programs, we do require community support.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how important is that when it comes to going to Worlds? Because your teams are good enough to compete, and we want them to go every year.
Yeah, and that is a yearly challenge for us. And this year it's been particularly tough. With us, everything
you are going to Worlds, right?
Well, we have qualified for Worlds. At this point, it's not, to be honest, it's not looking too good. Whoa. Just in terms of fundraising. And each year the members get out and they have like a fundraising goal that they go for. And the last couple years, it's been tough, but they've achieved it, and we've made it out there and participated in that event. But this year it really is. It's looking like our season might end kind of at our regional championships down in SoCal. Yeah, I think we're all a little bummed about it, but it's one of those things where it's kind of a reality of what we do. We really rely on, fundraising and sponsorship and things like that. We know that money is tough all over the place, and so we have to be really, realistic about what we can and can't do.
God, right now, I want to offer to wear your business's logo on my back, like a permanent tattoo, if you can send the BC Drumline to Worlds.
We do. We do have a sponsorship program. It's not for us. It's not too late to go. We have to honestly make that call in the next or by the end of this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
And it is kind of frustrating. We were the championship drumline at the Anaheim Regional about a month ago. We'll be going to Western Percussion Championships where we expect to do pretty well. It's stiffer competition. I don't know if we'll win our division. But we certainly are going to, give it our best. And then, we're just going to go from there. But we have a hardworking group of students, and it is frustrating. If championships were closer, it is close for a lot of groups. There's driving distance, and would be no question.
But for us, it's not. And the thing is just like with our football team, and just like with our wrestling team, and just like with our basketball teams, and golf, and tennis, and volleyball, and anybody else that I'm leaving out right now, we cannot do it without our teammates in the community. And that's how you can still be involved. That's how you can participate. You could go to the BC Drumline website. We're running out of time right now, Tim, but what is the easiest way to get a hold of you?
bcdrumline.org is probably the best way. My
Okay.
email, phone is all on there, and just call the college.
bcdrumline.org, or give the college a call. The Drumline can use all the help they can. And again, we thank you, our friends in the community, our sponsors, our fans, and everybody who owns a piece of Bakersfield College. We couldn't do it without you. We will see you next week on the Renegade Report. For the entire athletic department and the college community at large, I'm Francis Mayer, and this has been a production of Bakersfield College, the Renegade Report.